How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about FuboTV. It has seen quite the pullback inside of the market. They do have earnings that is coming up, so I've been getting a lot of questions like, Dre, we need to get an update, so that's why I put this video together. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for FuboTV. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $8.40, being down 13.49%. On the low, it tested $8.32, and then on the high, testing $9.50. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 18.061 million shares, and for the average volume over 10 trading days is at 9.567 million shares. So what this shows us, we did have above average volume on the day, but we dealt with a lot of selling pressure. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 32.81. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And FUBO has been on a strong downtrend, and since it's trading below all of our major moving averages, it's clear to see that it is in a bear market. On the Friday, we ended up testing a 52-week low at $8.32. So knowing that earnings is going to be coming out on February the 23rd, if we end up disappointing, I could see the stock going down to around $7.50. And you know the environment that we are in, especially since we're going to be going into a year of interest rate increases, and this doesn't bode well for stocks like FUBO. So that's why I say $7.50 can be very achievable, and it can even go down more. If we end up actually putting up some solid numbers, then I want to see us actually being able to get above resistance here right at $11.32. I think it is very doable, and then we could see if we can get past $12. That is looking for a fairly large move there, so I want to make sure I'm being clear about that. But like I said, if they could beat on guidance and they show some strong numbers, I feel it's very doable. For the past 3 earnings reports, again, it has been under expectations, so that is one thing to keep in mind. But considering how much this stock has been beaten down, if we end up having a reversal, I think it will be very strong, and that's why I was saying I want to see us get to at least testing $12. So now let's get into the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for FuboTV. So green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings we have for the 17th, we have RIFBX that has a short of 286 shares. We have a closed position here. We also have Rinky Investments that purchased 202 shares. And we also have Virtu Financial LLC that purchased 23,092 shares. We also have JWM Advisors with a closed position. And we have Goldman Sachs Group Inc. that went in with some calls with a value of 279,000 shares. We also have Covington Capital Management that purchased 200 shares. And for the 15th, we have a closed position here. We also have a new position from Pensera Capital Management LLC that purchased 152 shares. And we also have UBS O'Connor LLC with a put value of 50,000 shares. And this is going to the 14th. And if we go down even more, we have seen some institutional activity in regards to purchases. But again, these are only the filing dates. And another thing that I want to bring to your attention is this chart right here, and it's showing how institutions have been loading up. And we could see as far as the stock has been downtrending, institutions have been showing interest. So again, that is great for long-term investors. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 61.38%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.02 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 4 million, updated 19 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 0.70%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 17th, it was at 59.41. And then for the close of the 18th, being at 61.38. So what does this tell us? It does have short squeeze potential, and there's a good amount of negative market sentiment around the stock, but no surprise considering the conditions we are in and being in an environment where we're going to be seeing interest rate increases, which is going to have an impact on the growth sector as a whole. And this is why if we end up having an earnings beat, I can see the stock making a strong pop to the upside. So now let's get into the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for FUBO. So we see on the inflow, it was at 23.31, and then on the outflow, it is at 19.46. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 0.45. On the medium, it was 15.77, and then on the small, it was 7.09. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0.55. On the medium, it was 13.55, and then on the small, it was 5.36. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for February the 18th, it being that outflow of 97.76. And as far as for the other 4 trading days, we had 0. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, or funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 12.49%. No surprise considering the strong sell-off that we had last week Friday. Keep in mind, DraftKings did release earnings last week, and of course it was below expectations, and we've seen a pullback in the sector, and this is why FuBo, knowing that they have earnings coming up for this week, added more volatility. Many were selling out, but one thing that we saw though, retail was loading up on the dip. So now let's go into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for FuboTV, it has been selling off for quite some time, and hitting that 52-week low on the Friday due to DraftKings was not shocking, knowing that they are trying to build a presence inside of the sports betting sector. But with that said, with earnings coming up, if they end up putting up a disappointment, I can see the stock pulling back to around $7.50, and it could go even further than that, knowing the conditions that we are in inside this market. We are dealing with a year that we're going to have interest rate increases, and it does have impact on growth stocks who are not profitable, and FUBO does fit this category. They are growing at a tremendous rate, knowing that they're growing their revenues by 100% and also as well as their subscriber growth. So we want to see a continuation of this for the next earnings report, but it's very important to see how much cash are they burning and what is the overall guidance looking like. And knowing that DraftKings ended up releasing their earnings last week, it did not bode well for the sector as a whole. So this is why if we end up getting an earnings beat, I want to see us actually have a strong pop and being able to get above $11.32. And the reason why I'm sharing this price level with you, because if it can get above $11.32, then we can look forward to seeing that push going to $12. And why is this possible? Because when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. There's a lot of negative market sentiment around the stock, and for just reasons due to the fact we are in an environment where the market is looking down on companies who are not profitable. I know this sounds like a broken record, but I just want you to be prepared and have expectations that are realistic. So this is why if the stock does pull back and if you are holding a position for the long term, then you shouldn't be afraid to buy the dip, especially if they release earnings and the guidance looks strong. Of course, this is not financial advice, but I want you to add this to your homework and as well as your due diligence. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on it because I want to be able to get back into a position for FUBO because I do believe in the long-term prospects. And if they do decide to dip, I'm going to consider getting into into a position. As far as for the analyst price targets, it is at $21.20 on average amongst all of them. So knowing that consensus rating just shows us as this year progresses, I do see FUBO does have upside from the current price of where it's at, and I will be keeping an eye on earnings so I can have even more confidence and conviction in this play. So let's see how the stock performs for this coming week. Do keep in mind we are coming off of this long weekend. We do have this tension going on with Russia and the Ukraine, and that will have an impact as the market as a whole, and I don't want you to ignore that because it will impact every stock that trades on the market. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.